Welcome back to the Nerd Table.
Hello.
Nick would say hello, but unfortunately he has passed on.
This is our Halloween episode.
Absolutely. So we're going to try to keep this one a little more family friendly.
Only slightly, though, because we tend to curse under pressure.
Yeah. So realistically, what we're going to talk about today is the horror genre as it is now, and how we feel about it going forward.
Yeah.
Would you like to start?
Well, first I think we should isolate our experiences with the horror genre. Primarily, where we find we go for our experience. Well, yeah, for our horror media.
All right. I am more into the films than television or books. I don't go searching online for horror. But frankly, horror films, they don't scare. There's jump scares.
But they don't leave a lasting impression.
No, it's... You're scared for 30 seconds at the utmost maximum.
Yeah. And then you're back to... Then you're... Not only are you back to watching the film feeling no more enlightened, but you're back to watching the film... You're back to being taken out of the film, taken out of the experience, and you've been... You will remember this, like...
You remember it for that scare, not the movie.
You won't remember the plot, the characters, any of that.
But, so, this is... I'm going to keep in mind this is about horror genre.
Yes.
I personally am more into the thrillers. So, building suspense. Like, movies like The Shining, I would not consider a horror film.
It's more of a suspense.
It's a suspenseful thriller film. In fact, most movies that advertise as horror, I would say right now, are gore. They want to scare you with how much blood they can pour on screen.
Yeah. Which brings me to my thing. Big budget horror films and the things that you're more oriented towards, well, more towards watching, not enjoying. They're more about the reveal, and they're more about what's being done with effects-wise and all that. And that's not really my taste. For me, the horror genre, I look toward online, I look toward novels, TV shows, those sorts of things, and I tend to veer away from the big-budget films. Mostly because I find there's a mindset and a sort of formula to these films in which they focus less on the story and less on the characters, and more on just... With the big budget horror films, bringing in either as large an audience as possible and making as much money as possible, or simply on the designs of their creatures, which from time to time can be a good thing, but personally for me, I prefer when an element of mystery is left behind, when not everything is revealed, when in the end you're still left with one or two questions.
Right.
Where it's satisfying, but there's still something there, something to make it be memorable, I suppose you could say.
And that's... fair. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Hence
in our last couple episodes, we've been talking, and we agree on just about everything in those episodes.
Yeah. This is a little more polarizing.
Yeah. So, which is what we were hoping for at some point, to be able to discuss our opinions on why you're wrong.
Oh, I see. Yes, well.
Here's the part where we kill each other. All right. So, personally, jump scares are awful. They're dumb.
Yeah, that's something we can agree on.
They're dumb. You'll scare me, and then I'll be angry. I won't be frightened. I won't be terrified. I'll have frustrated. A split second where I'm like, oh my god, that thing's in my face. That thing pissed me off.
Yeah, because it's something where...
It's a cop-out. It's a cheap scare.
If you were to compare horror and elements of horror to, say, and this is a bit of a stretch, to say foods. Jump scares, they're junk food. They're there and there's like a moment of enjoyment, but once that moment's gone, it leaves nothing and it just takes. It takes from the experience. It takes from the... What was it? From the credit of film itself, and it just really spoils the mood the film is attempting, though sometimes poorly, to set up.
Yeah. Now, let's talk again. I'm more into thrillers, but let's talk about horror movies as not gore, as demons and ghosts.
The supernatural element.
The supernatural element. Thank you. I'm not intelligent. So I despise ghost supernatural movies as they are right now. The demon or whatever, their main goal is one of two things: possess someone or kill someone.
Yeah. Now, this isn't to say they're all terrible. Films like the original Poltergeist and Exorcist, they're good, but the problem is, since then, they've set up a whole formula for making these films, which has done it to death and just really spoiled the original experience.
See, and as much as I'm gonna say I enjoyed those movies, I'm still gonna nitpick them, and I'm gonna get hated on for this.
No, it's perfectly alright.
But if your two goals are to possess or kill, for all of you demons out there listening, why are you moving chairs? Stop moving chairs and accomplish your goal. Stop screwing with the family and just do what you're supposed to do. I don't understand that. I don't understand why, like, instead of just doing what your main purpose is to do, you decide to screw around with the family instead.
Yeah. Now, what I'm going to say here is, every once in a while you can have something where maybe it's explained in the plot that it's building its power, or it's struggling to get through this void between worlds, or it's just simply malevolent and just wants to screw with them for the hell of screwing with them. But not every film is like that. You can't have it where every single poltergeist or every single demon acts in the exact same way. Because it just... To get back to your original point,
it's playing with your food before you eat it.
Yeah.
Stop it. Grow up.
Yeah.
Eat your vegetables like you're supposed to. Wow, I've turned into my father.
You're going to have to edit that out.
Now we can leave that in. Alright. So, that's my main... I get that it wouldn't make a good movie if it lasted 30 seconds because the demon just killed you.
Yeah, you need to build suspense.
But I'm going to refer back to the first Aliens movie.
Well, Alien, because Aliens was an action
the sequel.
film.
The first Alien movie. That was a sci-fi horror. It wasn't straight horror.
Yeah.
But you had your human cast, and you had your alien, your xenomorph.
Yeah.
The alien didn't screw around with the crew of the spaceship shuttle.
Can't remember, to be honest.
Who cares? Didn't screw
around with the crew.
Yeah. So it either attempted to kill or it killed. It didn't throw chairs around the room and put on a show.
Yeah.
So there's no and don't give me that crap about it's just trying to build strength to get in.
Even now, you did bring up a good point. In the Alien film, the alien is growing. It's growing, and it's still managing to cause havoc.
It's just still throwing shit around.
Yeah, it's not like all I can do is throw this chair. No, it still tries to kill people. Still tries to harm things. Even at its weakest, it's still more of a threat than most of these poltergeist manifestations in modern horror. But to get away from that, because I don't just want to focus on one subgenre, then you've got, and here's one I want to bring up, because it just recently came out. How about found footage and that sort of subgenre?
See, found footage is an interesting concept as long as you don't think about it.
Yeah, like
let me ask for all of you people who are watching, all 12 of you, how many of you are dumb enough? Let's go to Cloverfield and
We can do Blair Witch, Cloverfield, and then I want to touch on Chronicle and The Visit.
Alright. So, I'm going to go first with Cloverfield.
Alright.
What idiot would see a monster, would have the monster attacking and destroying the city, and constantly record everything?
Like,
drop that shitty camera and fucking run, man! Run! Yeah. Don't sit there. I get that you're running with the camera. Drop the camera. It's a distraction. It's useless. No one cares.
Now, to bring back to Chronicle in this, Chronicle did something which I think could have been expanded on. First, you had the whole thing of, I'm going to carry this camera around. But it went to the point where all the action was happening. The villain of the film put down the camera, and the camera's cut to video footage, to other people's phones, to every other medium, which is something they should do. If you want to fill in... if you want to fill in your, what's happening, in Cloverfield especially, they could have cut to someone else from the top of a building shooting down on the chaos with their, phones or something. Because obviously, if something crazy happens, you are going to want to get some of it, it's not like a lot of people are going to book it, but some people are stupid enough to film it. So cutting to that footage could have been done, but just, the found footage genre is one that...
It's interesting... as long as you don't think about it too hard. It has to be done in a particular way.
Yeah. The Visit, there are a few things I want to there are a few reviews I've seen for it, which bring up some interesting points that... This is M. Night Shyamalan's newest film and everything. The reason the kid's carrying the camera, that being because she wants to make up her whole documentary thing, it's alright. It's still a bit clunky. It's been done before. It was done with Blair Witch. But... It's an alright reason to be carrying around a camera, and especially that this kid has some interest in film. But the problem then arises in... with The Visit and everything that... actually, I want to go back to the good points. There's another thing they bring up. With a lot of these found footage films, it's supposed to seem low quality, low budget. It was originally made to save money. And yet, a lot of the ways it's being done in your big budget Hollywood films, it's being shot too well. It's either being shot too well, or it's being shot in a deliberately fake fashion. Meaning that you've got, I think it was, Record or something like that, I think, REC or something, where all the shots are clearly being, they're too clean, they're too edited, they're too nice. And you've got the alternative, which it's all just shaky cam. It all just looks too like they're deliberately faking it. And then we get into a series online, because I want to tie back to this, Marble Hornets. This is a series that blends it relatively well. It focuses on a guy who's doing a behind-the-scenes documentary for, based on a friend's student film. He eventually discovers some weird stuff on the tapes he was given, the tapes from the student film, and this spirals out of control. And people in this question all the time why he's carrying a camera, because it evolves from this clunky reason to just to the point where he needs to get this on film because of to get this whole thing out there, because he's got it evolves to the point where this guy has a whole following online about it and everything, and it's really a rather this gets into the subgenre of ARG, which is different from found footage, but I find it's far better. It's far more creative, and it's being done by people who have almost no money to shoot these big productions. But to get away from this, because we don't want to go on about found footage for too long, next what would you say we want to cover next?
First of all, I'm going to hit you up with with two different films. One's a franchise, one's an upcoming film that I would like your opinion on.
All right.
My opinion on one of these things I'm going to ask you about, Paranormal Activity franchise.
Oh.
For all of you fans out there, you're stupid. I despise that franchise. Come at me, I don't care. It's dumb. It's so dumb. We just discussed how you can do found footage in an effective way.
And we also just discussed the flaws with ghost films.
So you are effectively doing both of these things wrong.
Yeah. The Paranormal Activity films, my problem with them is they have an incredibly weak story. It's like a found footage version of Poltergeist, but if all the characters were just if everything was just bland. For one, here's something I want to bring up. I love when a horror film, like as I mentioned earlier, doesn't reveal everything. And what do we see in the next film, which, you know what they're doing in all their trailers? Showing everything. In the original Poltergeist, we never saw the ghost dimension. In the remake, we saw the ghost dimension. It looked awful. In the next Paranormal Activity, they are showing the ghost dimension. They are showing what the ghosts look like. They are taking the one small thing that made their film slightly, and I mean slightly redeemable, and just giving it away because they think that's what people want. In my personal opinion, the human imagination will always trump almost whatever you can show. There are exceptions, such as the H.R. Geiger, aliens, and all those sorts of things, but for the most part, the human imagination can visualize in a far better fashion what a certain concept can be. Not to say it has to be done with every horror film, because that gets stale, but it's still better to leave something behind. And this film is doing the exact opposite and giving everything away.
Yeah, so, stop the Paranormal Activities. I'm gonna sum it up, and then I'm gonna ask you a question.
Yeah.
So, the demons or the ghosts, again, they're playing with their food. They're stacking chairs on tables. They're showing you a girl standing in the middle of a room looking at the camera and then doing nothing. Like, what is the point? What's the point of that shot?
Yeah.
Because it's not scary. It's
lazy.
Look, there's a girl there. Whoop-de-doo. Now, here's another one. It's shot as found footage.
Yeah.
Most found footage things, as you said, they can be summed up. Like, in Chronicle, it was found footage because, for the most part, it was his project.
Yeah, it was him documenting what his life was like and all that, and there was just... The reasons made sense.
So, I'm going to ask you this right now. Why were they just filming every room in the house for it wasn't like they were doing a project.
They had security cameras in the first one. Beyond that, I don't remember. But that's the problem. The security cameras, and here's another thing, they show you everything. But they don't just show you everything where they show something spooky. They time-lapse an entire night's events where nothing happens.
See, and that doesn't bother me. That's another thing we're going to disagree on. It doesn't bother me. If you're going to show us nothing, then you better show me something soon.
Yeah.
But there's no reason for these to be shot as found footage films. I swear, if I move out, buy a house, and get a girlfriend, we all know that's not going to happen.
No.
Let's say it does.
2 out of 5%. 2.5%.
Shut up. So
0.2. Anyway,
let's say it happens. No way in hell am I just gonna let her start setting up cameras all over the place.
Yeah, if she's setting up cameras all over the place and claims for whatever reason she claims it's for, just go, just leave.
Yeah,
there are better people out there. She's crazy.
That's like, I want to film everything that goes on in my life. Yeah, well, you're a nut job.
Yeah,
you're a nut job.
Yeah,
you take photos for memories. You don't record you sleeping. Life. You don't record you sleeping for memories. What's the point of that?
I remember that time I was
Remember that time we weren't in the kitchen? Because we have video footage of that.
Yeah. But yeah, just the reasons are incredibly clunky. It touches everything we've brought up.
So, I despise that franchise.
Yeah.